I transmigrated into the role of the villainess.At the male lead Ethan's lowest point, I dumped him for money, the female lead Sophia healed him and helped him rebuild his empire, now I'm scheming to force him back into a relationship. The night before our planned reunion, I hesitated, would he actually kill me? The system projected Ethan's current image.At that exact moment. The now ruthless business tycoon Ethan sat sleepless by his window, clutching our old photo with tears streaming down his face. After hearing news about me, the system quipped, "See, he's totally obsessed." 16 years had passed since my accidental death led me into this novel. I diligently followed the system's script as the villainess. I deliberately pursued Ethan, doing everything to make him fall for me. 7 years together he bought me designer bags, luxury cars, a penthouse, and the biggest diamond ring. Everyone envied me. Then the Miller family's empire collapsed overnight. After liquidating all assets, Ethan tried contacting me only to discover I'd blocked him everywhere and fled abroad with all his lavish gifts. The golden boy fell from grace, abandoned by his supposed true love. That day broke him. He desperately searched for me, only to hear, "Oh her, she packed her Louis Vuittons and ran the moment your family went bankrupt." The memory of young Ethan trembling with heartbreak, fat tears hitting the floor, made me resist the system's new command to reconcile. I'd vanished without a word 4 years ago, destroying my SIM card and cutting off everyone. Ethan must hate me now. Worse, his brutal corporate rise proved he'd crush me, the woman who destroyed his heart. The system insisted, this is crucial plot development. Host. Sophia's healing him, but they can't get together smoothly without your interference. My afterlife depended on compliance. After mental preparation, I dusted off an old yearbook and dialed a number. "This is Lily.Do you know how Ethan's doing? I need to see him." Emily's eyes were red when she met me at JFK. She turned away angrily, dragging my suitcase over. I asked, "What's wrong? You ghost everyone for 4 years. Then call me about him first?" She snapped, tears welling. My throat tightened. Emily had been my ride or die since college. We'd even bought adjacent apartments. But the system forced me to burn all bridges when leaving Ethan. "I'm sorry," I whispered. I didn't explain why I'd left. And Emily didn't press. But during the car ride back, after a long hesitation, she finally asked, "Do you know Ethan has someone else now?" I froze. The system had already briefed me on Ethan's past 4 years. After losing everything, he'd clawed his way back through sheer grit, enduring every hardship alone, rebuilding his empire from ashes. The struggle left him cold and guarded until Sophia came along. She became his personal assistant, the sunshine melting his walls. Their closeness was common knowledge. But I was here to ruin it. Shrugging, I said, "So what?" Emily studied me, words hanging unspoken. She took me straight to a party that night. The moment we entered, familiar faces turned. Someone gasped, "Lily? Is that really you?" I'd tried vanishing quietly years ago, but Ethan's explosive reaction made my disappearance infamous. People had tried reaching me, failed. Now they gaped. "Where've you been?" "Ethan tore the world apart looking for you." Ryan, Ethan's loyal friend who'd always rooted for us, pushed forward. "What were you thinking? You didn't actually ditch him over the bankruptcy, right?" My throat tightened. While others called me a gold digger, Ryan alone kept insisting, "Lily wouldn't do that." I forced a smirk. "Why not? Maybe I'm that cruel." A sneer cut through. "Well, at least she admits it." Vanessa strode over, heels clacking. Ryan's sister glared, jabbing my shoulder. "The records don't lie, you sold every gift Ethan ever gave you. Now you slither back when he's successful again? Pathetic." "Vanessa," Ryan tried intervening. She ignored him. "You think he's still the boy you manipulated? Sophia's with him now. Do everyone a favor, disappear again." Vanessa had always resented me for hurting Ethan. Her diamond nails dug into my skin as the crowd watched, silent. I completely understood. But before I could speak, Emily rushed over and pulled me behind her. "Vanessa, watch your tone. Don't forget it was Lily who helped find evidence when you were framed years ago." Hidden behind Emily, I saw Vanessa bristle instantly. "Am I wrong?" If she hadn't left without a word back then, would Ethan have suffered so much? Now that he's finally moved on, why is she suddenly reappearing? The tension thickened like storm clouds. That's when Ethan arrived, dressed in a black overcoat. He stood silhouetted against the light, every inch the composed aristocrat. Yet his eyes betrayed turbulent emotions, raw and overwhelming. All eyes turned to him, but his gaze locked solely on me. Time froze. The system's voice pierced through. Host. The male lead is en route to meet the female lead. Your mission is to delay him and create discord between them. I was stunned. We just reunited. How can I possibly? Before I could finish, Ethan began walking. As his eyes left mine, I instinctively blocked his path. Hi, Ethan. He halted abruptly. Up close. I saw carefully restrained emotions in his gaze, no anger. Just intense focus. Long time no see. I smiled. Could I take you to dinner? Do you have time now? Vanessa exploded before he could answer. Lily. What are you? Yes. Ethan's quiet response silenced her. Yes? Vanessa gaped. Ethan. Aren't you forgetting Sophia's waiting at? I'm available. His eyes never left mine. Cautious hope bleeding through. Where? Caught off guard by his immediate agreement, I blurted our old haunt. How about FR Bistro? That restaurant where we'd shared countless meals during our relationship. We even celebrated several anniversaries there. I carefully observed Ethan's reaction. He pressed his lips slightly, emotions flickering in his eyes. Okay, he agreed swiftly. Vanessa fumed with frustration. Ethan, don't let her deceive. Her words were cut off again by Ethan's calm interruption. Please tell Sophia to leave first. His tone remained even yet carried undeniable finality. Vanessa glared at me indignantly. Lily, don't think I don't know what schemes you're plotting. I pretended not to hear. The restaurant was still some distance away. Ethan led me to the parking lot where his new car stood, replacing the familiar vehicle we'd once chosen together. When did you change cars? I asked casually. He froze mid-motion, jaw tightening as he averted his gaze. The previous one was mortgaged. The memory surfaced abruptly. The Miller family's bankruptcy had forced Ethan to liquidate nearly all assets during those dark days, including our jointly selected car. Sensing the sudden tension, I opened my mouth to speak, but Ethan's quiet confession stopped me. When I could afford it again, I tried to buy it back. The owner crashed it beyond repair. His voice dwindled to a whisper, eyelashes casting shadows like a chastened child. An unexpected ache tightened my chest. That's unfortunate, I managed, reaching for the backseat door handle. Ethan shifted subtly to block my path, gesturing to the front passenger seat with hopeful eyes. I acquiesced without protest. This version of Ethan felt different from my expectations. My contemplation shattered when his phone rang, the screen illuminated with Sophia's. The system urgently warned frowny face host. Intercept the call. Create misunderstandings between the protagonists immediately. Suddenly thrust into this high-stakes scenario, my nervous expression caught Ethan's attention. What's wrong? He asked, meeting his gaze. I pleaded softly, could you not answer that? Ethan's thumb hovered over the answer button, his searching eyes locked on mine. His expression gave nothing away. The system kept blaring in my ear, host, when Ethan remained silent. I bit my lip and added, I don't want us to be disturbed. I threw him a wistful glance for good measure. Ethan's slender fingers tensed, freezing midair. After heavy silence, he rasped, fine. With a flick of his wrist, he hung up on Sophia's call. The system chuckled darkly. Host. Choosing you as the villainess was truly a stroke of genius on my part. Though I'd offered to host the dinner, Ethan guided me through the familiar restaurant. For years had passed, yet everything remained unchanged. The hostess greeted him with practiced warmth. Good evening, Mr. Miller. Shall we prepare your usual private dining room? He'd permanently reserved that second-floor suite with panoramic ocean views because I'd once claimed it served the best seafood in the city. As we ascended the staircase, I found myself asking, you still keep that room booked? Our server answered before Ethan could. Oh yes. 2 years ago, Mr. Miller renewed the lease for another decade. She beamed at me, clearly mistaking me for his new girlfriend. 2 years, that meant he'd renewed it long after I'd disappeared. My head snapped toward Ethan. But he stared resolutely ahead, his marble profile revealing nothing. The chatty server continued, though he always dined alone before today. Her eyes sparkled with unspoken assumptions. Ethan remained silent. So did I until she left us at the private dining room. I began. He cut me off with a nod. Sometimes the craving hits. His gaze burned into mine. You swore you'd keep eating here until we were old and gray. Remember? The memory choked me. I'd loved this place so fiercely that after every business trip, my first stop had been this very table. I'd once joked through mouthfuls of lobster. If this place ever closes, I'll drown the city in my tears. That night, Ethan had quietly bought controlling shares in the restaurant group. When I didn't respond, Ethan turned toward the floor-to-ceiling windows. His reflection blurred against the midnight harbor lights as he whispered, "Did you ever imagine?" Imagine what? Ethan hesitated for a few seconds. The aroma from this restaurant, I froze. Honestly, during those initial months after leaving, I'd obsessed over Ethan and this exact scent in equal measure. I remember screaming at the system daily during the first weeks. Somehow, I'd gradually adapted without noticing when Ethan's intense gaze burned into me, his barely contained anticipation spilling over. After consideration, I nodded slightly. Yeah, missed it like crazy. Sophia's abrupt appearance caught both Ethan and me off guard. Ignoring protesting staff members, she shoved open the private dining room door. Her glare locked onto Ethan. Only when the system screeched like a fire alarm did I realize this meticulously made-up woman in the cocktail dress was Ethan's destined female lead. Sophia's eyes shimmered with wounded defiance. Ethan, I told you I needed to discuss something crucial today. As his assistant, her casual use of his first name spoke volumes about their dynamic. The system yelled, "Host. Today's supposed to be their confession scene." She got stood up and tracked him down. Do something. Still processing this soap opera twist. I short-circuited. Huh? Confession? You're the system. Why am I fixing this? This is no time for semantics. It snapped. During our mental spat, Sophia marched to Ethan's side, her doe eyes brimming. Ethan calmly set down his teacup. I had Vanessa relay my message. His tone stayed flatline. Sophia's composure shattered. Through tears, she glared at my stunned form. You blew me off, for her? You never even let me in this room before. Why does she get to? Her accusatory finger jabbed my direction. Are you still hung up on her? The question dropped like a grenade. My head jerked up before embarrassment forced it down. Ethan massaged his temples. Sophia, you're crossing lines. His simmering anger barely veiled the warning. She bulldozed ahead, finger now rigidly aimed. Ethan, she dumped you for money. Don't you remember? All she cares about is your wallet. She's a gold digging. Ethan rocketed to his feet, forcibly lowering her accusing hand. Pointing is rude. Your words more so. And Miss Taylor? His formal address landed like ice. This is my personal time. Continued harassment will result in termination. Sophia fled weeping. I watched her dramatic exit, facial muscles twitching. System. Are you sure this is the female lead? The promised sunshine heroine turned into a spitfire? The delicate flower from the novel wasn't like this. The system frantically pulled up data. Well, there does seem to be some corruption. I pursed my lips. Might as well let me be the heroine. The system fell silent, entering maintenance mode. On the drive back, Ethan was unusually quiet. Without the system's prompts, I had no idea what to say either. We sat in silence for most of the journey. I'm sorry. Ethan suddenly spoke up. I turned to look. His fingers gripped the steering wheel so tightly they turned white. His lips pressed into a tight line, the words carrying equal parts resentment and remorse. still got interrupted. He looked terrible. Because of Sophia's intrusion. Rarely had I seen him like this. My heart clenched painfully. She meant well with that warning. I blurted out. What if I dumped you just for money? The car jerked to a sudden stop. I lurched forward uncontrollably. But instead of expected pain, I found Ethan's palm cushioning my forehead. When he saw I was steady, he gently massaged the spot. I have money, he said intently. I froze. What? Ethan enunciated each word carefully. If it's about money, I have it now. His gaze never wavered, earnest and waiting. But I looked away. The system had warned me crucial plot points must follow its script, or I'd get replaced. Even when Ethan's burning gaze made my chest ache, I kept my face turned away. From my periphery, I saw hope extinguish in his eyes. After a long moment, he whispered hoarsely, "Sorry." I screamed internally for the system. No response came. The rearview mirror only showed Ethan's bloodless face. The unspoken understanding hung between us as Ethan pulled up to Emily's apartment complex. He pressed a key into my palm, the heart-shaped keychain missing its other half. My breath caught. This was the key to the condo he bought me on a whim after I mentioned liking the advertisement. Though the system had ordered me to liquidate all his gifts before fleeing abroad, I'd secretly kept this one, hoping it might someday help him. What's this for? I asked, the metal biting into my skin. You could come back. His thumb brushed my wrist as he closed my fingers around the key. No one would bother you there. The refusal died on my lips when I met those wounded puppy dog eyes. Thanks. I managed, watching his gaze trace the key disappearing into my fist. Hope and sorrow warred in his expression as I stepped out of the car. Emily pounced before I'd fully closed her front door. Damn. Ethan moves fast. Reunion sex in a luxury condo already? She licked strawberry yogurt off her spoon with raised eyebrows. I explained about the key's history as we collapsed onto her couch. Wait. She interrupted. You mean the place he refused to leave even after Ryan offered him that oceanfront mansion? My spoon clinked against my yogurt cup. He lived there after getting rich again? Yep. Moved out briefly when bankrupt. Then camped out there like a hermit crab once the money came back. The contradiction made my temples throb. I'd assumed the property would have been his financial lifeline. Why abandon it during actual hardship? System! I screamed internally. A chirpy voice responded. Host! Reporting for duty. Where were you earlier? I mentally hissed. Filing plot continuity reports with headquarters. But never mind that. The system's mechanical voice gained a disturbingly giddy edge. He gave you the key? This is perfect. Charge back into his life. Rekindle the romance. Are you trying to get me killed? I shot back as it projected a hologram of Ethan pacing his penthouse, running anxious fingers through his hair. Ethan had returned to our old house, sitting cross-legged before the floor-to-ceiling windows with a framed photo of us clutched to his chest. The camera zoomed in to reveal his bowed head, silent tears dripping onto the glass-protected memory. Fat droplets splattered the picture of our smiling faces. Yet he remained motionless, a marble statue weeping over frozen happiness. The system's mechanical voice pierced through. See? He's totally obsessed. My breath caught at the sight of Ethan's ashen complexion, the vulnerable curve of his shoulders. This broken version of him felt foreign, like discovering a crack in Mount Rushmore. My chest constricted with bitter longing. Why must I forever be cast as the villainess in his love story? Under the system's relentless prodding, I found myself pacing our old neighborhood at twilight the next day. To my shock, the facial recognition gates still recognized me. A security guard popped his head out. MS. Lily! Back from your trip already? Trip? I blinked. Your husband said you went traveling overseas. The guard leaned on his booth, oblivious to my confusion. Asked him where you'd been, said you went globetrotting without a return date. But don't think he forgot you. He lowered his voice conspiratorially. Every night he brings home fresh flowers. Just in case you show up. And the gifts. Whole truckloads for birthdays and holidays. Though God knows where he stores them all. That man's been waiting. I tell you. The system crooned approval. Full marks for the male lead. I tuned it out. Feet carrying me down the cobblestone path we'd walked countless times. Before I realized, I stood trembling before his front door. Focus. Host. The system barked. The door swung open before I could respond. Ethan stood framed in golden light. Anger melting from his features like spring thaw. His knuckles whitened around the doorknob. Lily? The name escaped like a prayer. You came back? The interior froze me in place. Our sun-bleached curtains still hung limp. The patched-up grocery list I'd shredded during our last fight clung to the fridge, every scrap painstakingly reassembled. Even my chipped mug sat waiting on the kitchen counter, as though I'd merely stepped out for milk. I stared at the messy photo albums scattered across the table. Ethan hurried over to close them, looking slightly embarrassed. I thought you wouldn't come. Haven't had time to clean up. I smiled. No worries. Taking a few steps forward, my gaze suddenly froze. On the side table near the balcony stood a vibrant bouquet of red roses, glowing crimson in the golden sunset. Special purchase? Ethan remained silent but didn't deny it. Seizing the opportunity, I teased with a grin, "Who are those for?" Expecting his usual reticence. I was surprised when he turned those intense eyes on me. Speaking calmly yet firmly, "You." During my stunned silence, he'd already closed the distance between us. Eyes burning. "Bought them for you. No one else." The rushed words tumbled out like he needed to prove something. I burst out laughing. "Anything else?" Ethan's expression shifted strangely, as if asking, "How did you know?" I simply batted my eyelashes. With a resigned chuckle, he led me to a corner and pushed open a door. "Can't hide anything from you." The former storage room now housed neat cabinets instead of piled clutter. Each shelf displayed meticulously wrapped gift boxes topped with handwritten notes. "Lily. Couldn't afford diamonds this time. Cut some raw stones into a necklace myself. Feel free to toss it if you hate it. Happy birthday, Lily. Did you enjoy your celebration this year? Lily. I'm back in our home. Everyone congratulated my housewarming, but all I felt was your absence. They released new flavors of those cookies you love. Wanted to send some. But, do you still get midnight cravings overseas? Lily. The moon's full tonight. I miss you terribly." My fingers froze on a particular note. Ethan immediately stepped closer. "What's wrong?" I seized the moment to peck his cheek. He stood motionless for several heartbeats before slowly raising trembling fingers to touch the kissed skin, emotions warring in his eyes. As I rose on tiptoes for more, the system's panicked voice shattered the moment. "Host. Emergency. The latest plot audit shows the main storylines completely derailed. The romantic progress between the male and female leads hasn't even reached 5%. I'm a bit confused. Then why did you say Ethan had already been healed by the female lead? Here's the thing. When the plot develops to a certain point, we conduct comprehensive diagnostics. Our initial scan showed Ethan's social isolation levels were below 10%. So we assumed he'd been cured. But when checking archives, we discovered he'd never actually been corrupted in the first place. I'm stunned. What does that mean? It means while your departure hurt Ethan, it didn't fundamentally change his nature. Since the female lead never truly healed him, their emotional progression remains stagnant. A sinking feeling washes over me. The system confirms my dread, therefore. Host. Your new mission is to hurt Ethan again. Only through corrupting him can we create opportunities for the female lead to heal him and restore the world's storyline. Metal clinks sharply against tile as keys slip from my trembling fingers. Ethan's instantly alarmed. What's wrong? His hands steady my shoulders. You're pale as a ghost. I force a bitter smile. System. Isn't this a bit cruel? The system sounds genuinely apologetic. I know it's harsh. Host. But these are the higher-ups' orders. Black spots dance across my vision. Ethan's grip tightens, keeping me upright. So what's my new script? After weighted silence, the system responds, emotionally manipulate Ethan into surrendering all assets. Then flee overseas. This complete betrayal will break him. But don't worry, the female lead will recover part of the funds within 3 months and help him rebuild. Just like 4 years ago. I think bitterly, remembering how the system had solemnly ordered my original departure. I've been staying at our old penthouse. When Ethan pressed about my sudden pallor yesterday, I blamed low blood sugar. Today he's brought in a private physician for full diagnostics. Perfectly healthy, the doctor concludes. Just mild neck stiffness from poor sleep posture. Ethan's shoulders relax visibly. Lying on the sofa, I watch the doctor leave. Warm hands cradle my neck as Ethan kneads the prescribed pressure points with surgeon's precision. Trouble sleeping? His breath ghosts my ear. I shake my head, rolling over to loop arms around his neck. His ears flush crimson as I murmur against his skin, just thinking, was rebuilding your empire terribly difficult? He'd been destitute when I left. The meteoric comeback must have demanded unimaginable sacrifices. Ethan's chuckle vibrates against me. I couldn't remain penniless if there was any chance you'd return. What worth would I have? His fingers still. Though sometimes, the money just made the missing louder. I'd travel constantly. Only when working could I afford to miss you properly. His words were simple, even casual. Yet my nose stung with suppressed emotion. Ethan buried his face in my hair, eyelids fluttering shut with infinite tenderness. Then you really came back, he murmured, the rims of his eyes pinkening. A warm droplet splashed onto my wrist. I stared at his trembling lashes, fingers twisting my shirt hem until the fabric strained. Since moving back, Ethan granted my every whim without hesitation. The walk-in closet I'd emptied 4 years ago now overflowed with the season's luxury brands within days. I hate these. I lied. He simply pressed a black card into my palm. Then buy what you like. Pin's your birthday. The balance made me blink. The number string rivaled my social security digits. Is this your entire net worth? I asked offhandedly. Yes. His gaze never wavered. Everything's there. My smile froze. Ethan's eyes crinkled, moonlight catching the gold flecks. Suddenly I understood he didn't need deception. If I asked, he'd give. Invalid approach. Host. The system's shrill beep shattered the moment. Core objective requires betrayal trauma. I mentally rolled my eyes. Ever heard of mood whiplash? A leaden weight settled in my chest. Ethan misread my silence as doubt. Urgently clarifying. I mean it every cent. No hidden accounts. I forced a teasing lilt. Then what will you live on? He blinked owlishly. I'm low maintenance. You wouldn't abandon me, would you? The lump in my throat made speech impossible. I shook my head. Prove it. His smile turned rueful as he dropped the safe key into my hand. Fingers lingering. Take everything, including my birth certificate and corporate seals. The cold metal bit my palm. Ethan's laughter followed me upstairs. Bittersweet as dark chocolate. I thought you weren't interested in these things. In the past. I hated keeping track of tedious documents. Always worried I'd lose them. I'd dump everything on Ethan. He'd meticulously organize each item, magically producing whatever was needed. I took out his engraved seals, examined them, then put them back. People change, you know? Ethan simply smiled at me, oblivious to what was coming. 4 days. Ethan and I were inseparable. We revisited all our old dating spots. Retook photos where we'd posed before. Went shopping and watched movies like any passionate couple. One midnight, He held me close, kissing damp strands of hair on my forehead. "Lily," he murmured. "This happiness feels surreal." My arms draped weakly around his neck. "But my exhaustion feels plenty real." He chuckled, kissing me again until finally resting his face against my collarbone. My phone lit up simultaneously. "Did you get the seals? Contracts are ready." Glancing at Ethan nestled against me, I typed OK before carefully darkening the screen. Villainous schemes always succeed, until they're discovered. On the morning of Miller Corp's quarterly meeting, I clung to Ethan. My recent clinginess made this seem normal. "What's wrong?" He gently grasped my arms around his waist. "There's a mandatory conference." I tightened my hold. "But it's our anniversary. That boutique's launching new bags today. Come help me choose." Ethan sighed, texting someone before surrendering. "All right, for you." I beamed triumphantly. His phone rang minutes later. Sophia calling. When he reached for it, I pouted. "You're not going to work while you're supposed to be spending time with me, are you?" He withdrew his hand. "Of course not." After sending a quick message, he powered off the device. During our drive, Sophia called repeatedly. Though headstrong, she's exceptionally competent. The unusual barrage made Ethan frown. Sensing his hesitation, I slumped dramatically. "If it's that urgent, just go. I'll manage." He paused, then answered. My breath caught. "Mr. Miller, something feels off about today." Sophia's urgent voice crackled through. Ethan cut her off. "I'm unavailable. Handle whatever arises." Ethan accompanied me to pick out a few new designer bags, purchasing them without batting an eye. I clung to his arm, beaming with joy. Spotting dresses across the store, I exclaimed, "I want to try that one too." Ethan smiled. "Go ahead, I'll wait." I selected several outfits for his opinion before taking his favorite into the dressing room. He sat obediently outside, quietly awaiting my fashion show. When nearly 10 minutes passed without me emerging, he grew concerned enough to ask the sales associate to check. "These intricate designs often take longer," the clerk explained, his instincts flaring. Ethan rushed to the dressing room door, calling my name repeatedly. Receiving no response, he kicked the door open to find an empty space. Only his chosen dress hung carelessly on the wall. Panic seized him. But before he could process my disappearance, Sophia's angry call came through. "Mr. Miller, selling the company without warning? Sending contracts remotely instead of appearing in person? What exactly are you afraid of?" The pieces clicked into place within seconds. Barging back into the dressing room, he frantically searched the discarded garment, discovering a hidden letter. His hands trembled as he unfolded the stationery, eyes reddening. Meanwhile, I slipped through the prearranged exit and drifted through airport security in a daze. My system chirped cheerfully, "Congratulations, host. Finalize the storyline by running the male lead status check." I remained silent. Security gates clicked behind me as the systems report arrived. Its tone shifted to disbelief. "Corruption levels, still critically low? How? You literally sold his company behind his back." The projection screen flickered to life, revealing Ethan still seated outside that dressing room. Zooming in showed tear tracks glistening on his cheeks, droplets splashing the cherished letter. He scrambled to blot moisture from the paper, preserving the secret message I'd written during the system's recharge cycle. "Forgive me, Ethan. You sweet fool. Never realizing you're being played. There's something I couldn't tell you. This system controls me. To survive, I must follow its script as the villainess in your story. This chapter required me to steal your wealth through false affection. The alternative punishment? Eternal separation from you. But seeing you again made me realize I'd rather you know my true heart before disappearing than let you die believing I never loved you through all the hurt. So this time, I chose you. The company seal I sold was fake, the real one remains untouched. Take it for comparison to teach you a lesson. Never again surrender everything so recklessly. Ethan, I love you." And then, goodbye. A teardrop splattered onto the final signature. The system nearly short-circuited, shrieking, "Host, have you lost your mind?" I sat silently, awaiting punishment. It spiraled. "We're doomed. The entire plot's derailed. You've ruined us both." While panicking, it began scanning the story's metrics, but strangely, I could now see the diagnostics. The largest indicator, plot completion rate, surged from 30% to 80%. The system's hologram flickered like a dying light bulb. I gaped as the percentage hit 90%. It howled, "What's happening to me?" I watched, stunned, as the characters for system above its head shattered and rearranged into 4 new words: villainous system. Light particles floated toward me, forming female lead before dissolving into my body. A deeper electronic laugh boomed, "Heh. Star-crossed lovers defying a malicious system to reunite?" Far more compelling than the original plot. The system wailed, "Boss. This wasn't the plan." The original storyline collapsed anyway. The voice faded. They carved their own path. Enjoy your new role as antagonist. 007. The system despaired. Becoming an in-universe villain didn't affect its performance metrics, yet fellow systems mocked it endlessly. Utter humiliation. It raged inside my skull. 007. Silence. I snapped. My newfound protagonist aura muted it instantly. Ethan handed me warm milk, sitting bedside. "So, it can't control you anymore?" I nodded, sipping. After altering our roles at the airport, I'd returned to find him still clutching my letter, eyes swollen from tears. Seeing me, fresh droplets trailed down his cheeks. "Is this the system's punishment?" he whispered. "Let me see your phantom." Haunting my memories forever, I reached out to pinch his cheek. He cried harder, cradling the spot I'd touched. "So real. It feels so real," I nearly laughed aloud, leaning close to his ear. I shouted, "Ethan, I'm back!" After explaining everything to Ethan, the storyline completion rate jumped to 95%. He frowned, "Then why 5% left? Some villain still lurking?" I curled against his chest. "No idea." Ethan pressed me closer, brushing his lips against my forehead. The completion percentage suddenly rose by 0.3%. Startled, I tilted up to kiss his mouth. Another 0.5% gained. His eyes widened at the unexpected kiss. But within 2 breaths, his hand slid behind my neck to deepen the contact. My knees weakened as the percentage climbed another 1%. When we finally broke apart, I showed him the hovering stats. He pondered briefly before flipping me beneath him. "What are you?" My protest died as he declared with absolute seriousness, "I know how to boost progress." Slender fingers crept beneath my skirt. Heat flooded my cheeks at his trailing touch. Later, when I could barely stand, the counter stubbornly stuck at 99.99%. Ethan stubbornly pulled me back toward the bed until the system finally intervened. "Host. It'll never reach 100% until you die of old age. You couldn't have mentioned that sooner?" The system's voice dripped with mock sweetness, "But I'm the villainous system. Remember?